SolidarityRealty.com. Solidarity Realty. There is an alternative.
Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves and corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of the station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening.
3, 2, 1.
Now live from the Devil Radio Studios in Madison, Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning. Welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Here is your host, Mike Crute.
Welcome to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show, the Friday edition. Thank God, Dominic. How you doing, little buddy?
Crudy, I am fine. Good to be with you. Fancy Brian back on the board in the studio today. Evan as well. Our fair audience, happy Friday. It's been a long week, man.
Well, it's been a long week in Brian's absence, back from the Big Apple. How was it, big fella?
It was awesome. I got to see a family reunion of family I haven't seen in about a decade almost altogether.
Like your family, right?
Kind of, yeah, basically.
Or did you crash? You go crash someone else's family?
I crashed my own family. It's my dad's side. They're all in Long Island, New York, and there's no resentment. Like, we haven't hung around with each other enough to actually build up resentment, so it was really cool. All the things that we would normally hate each other about years from now are now down to just, oh, that's interesting and cute. It's cool.
Do they hate you
Welcome
because
back.
you're a Patriots fan?
Probably that plus a bunch of other things too. There was, but it was fun. We drank to excess and nobody got crazy. I also, on the way over there, I got recognized on the plane.
Ooh, big shot.
Walking down the aisle, Mary from Kenosha goes, "Are you Fancy Brian from the Devil's Advocates?" And I tell you, Amy and Darby were so excited about it, and I did not know what to do with myself because honestly, it was the last thing. Like, if you told me that was going to happen, whatever. It totally messed my mind up. I had no idea what was going on. I was like, wow, hi, great, awesome.
Here's what I recommend. I like to wear a Badger hat or some sort of Homer sports team hat. You know, when I'm on the radio, when I'm the public Crudy has a hat on. And then if you want to go out, covertly, if you want to, fly under the radar, I just take the hat off. Nobody recognizes me then.
Being the size that I am, it's really hard for me to fly under the radar. It's actually really hard for me to fly, period, which is why I was completely obsessed with sitting by the aisle seat or the window seat so I can have that extra inch or so with the window. And I flew JetBlue. By the way, I can't recommend that highly enough. I got 4 inches in front. I have 4 inches in front of my knees. I actually had room to move, but I was sitting there in my pajamas because I'm huge and I don't want a belt buckle while I'm crunched up in the side. So I'm like in my pajamas and I'm disheveled and I'm squeezed in and hi, Fancy Brian. I'm like, hi. Yeah, hi. It was so weird. It was awesome though. She's great. Awesome people.
Well, that's cool. It's a great story. Evan, you got a great story for us?
Hell no.
I'll put you down for a hell no.
Hell
Evan,
no.
lightly screening your calls here. 844-967-2789. Just don't waste the man's time telling stories. But gentlemen, and I use that term loosely around here, there's some big, possible, probable breaking news at the Journal Sentinel. The headline, the RNC MKE 2024. It's semi-official. Milwaukee will host the Republican National Convention in 2024. Suck it, Joe Biden, right? That's the ultimate troll to the DNC and the fact that they didn't actually come to Milwaukee. And once again, Crudy has been proven to be correct because I predicted this like 2 years ago.
Great. We get to see the Proud Boys and all the right-wing nationalists marching down the street. It will be glorious. Boo! I object, Your Honor.
Well, here's the good news. You won't have to get on an airplane and fly to Nashville because the party's coming to us, Tom.
Is
will
it?
be at
party?
the center of the political universe.
We went to Cleveland, man. That was not a party.
The Wink and Lizard where we were at, that was a party, man. The corner of the bar right there in the glass.
And our immediate surrounding, yeah, certainly that's always a party. But Cleveland was dull.
Now,
Say it
where
with
we
me.
were at,
Was
I'm just
Cleveland
saying.
dull? I mean, come on. After that convention, we went out. It's in Cleveland. Beautiful
Well, we
city.
were the life of the party.
And
I will
we
say
went
that.
after that convention, which was very super weird and strange. We went out, and there was a stage and a bunch of bars and tents set up.
Oh,
and
you mean
bands
after
playing.
Trump accepted the nomination?
Yes,
The
yes. When
darkest
everybody should be partying.
acceptance speech of all time. Yeah, I remember we were in the room. The balloons, we were just above where the balloons dropped
We
from.
walked in with Dog the Bounty Hunter, your buddy, and
No,
after
you're
that,
mixing up events, Tom. You're talking about the inauguration. We're
oh,
talking
I'm
about the
sorry. Yeah,
nomination.
they all blend together.
in
You're
Cleveland.
right. You're right. My bad.
You and
My
your
bad.
memory.
Yeah, you know how.
No,
it is.
we were smoking copiously and drinking heavily up there in the rafters, if I recall, Dom. So I can see why you might be a little blurry.
When
But
we
the
got
point-
done with that convention, Curry, we walked out. It's between what, the football field or the basketball field and the baseball field, something like that, right?
Yeah, it
And-
was between Quickens Field, Quickens Loan Stadium, and Jacobs Field in Cleveland. There was a party area with a band stage and the band was damn good.
And two or three people dancing. That
Well,
was
including us.
It was so dull. It was terrible, and people were depressed walking out because they just selected the worst human being ever to be their candidate, and we of course still live with those ramifications today. And if Crudy's right, that same person will be darkening the doors of the beautiful city of Milwaukee on Lake Michigan in Wisconsin. I am not looking forward to the white nationalists coming to town, man. It's going to be problematic.
Well,
We saw
here's
the
the-
last time they collected in D.C. See how that went.
You know, but we were also in Cleveland, Dom, and I don't know why you're making such a big deal. Now, for my birthday this year, you gave me back my gas mask. And as, you know, credentialed media by the Secret Service, we had to go through a special credentialing process for the RNC and the DNC in 2016. As fate would have it, we thought we were all credentialed up for the DNC coming to Milwaukee in 2020. Didn't work out for us, but we were there. We were at both parties. And certainly the Democratic Party was much more of a party. I mean, Philly was rocking and rolling.
Yeah, Philly was fun.
It was a hell of a lot of fun. And I have no doubt the Republicans don't party like the Democrats partied. But I got to tell you, Dom, for pure commerce reasons and selfish reasons as well, Dom, because we will get to be at the center of the political universe. Now, I'd have loved to have gone down to Nashville and partied for the week and found a cool honky-tonk bar to broadcast from somewhere outside the green zone. And, you know, I'm quite interested. You know, the Republicans claim they're coming to Milwaukee, but the last time Trump claimed he was in Milwaukee, he was in Waukesha County, right?
Yep.
So perhaps it will be a Waukesha convention out by the Shaw somewhere, and that could play right into our hands.
It certainly could. I am not looking forward to the Proud Boys, the Oath Keepers. What's a new one that have been very active lately? The Patriot Front Group. You know, these guys with their khakis and their white masks. I mean, what are you expecting, man? I mean, do you really think? And we saw how Cleveland was shut down. I mean, ask any of the bar
so
owners
was
around there how
Philadelphia,
things. Yeah, but wasn't Philadelphia? I mean, I haven't seen the funding. I know when they looked at in the city of Milwaukee, and they looked at what the economic impact, quote unquote, will be, they compared it to Cleveland. But, you know, a lot of the business owners we talked to in Cleveland weren't real down with what was going on. The way the Secret Service funneled everybody through, it worked out for us at the Wink and Lizard, but a lot of places are shut out, and it's an inconvenience. Now, is there going to be $200 or more million of quote-unquote economic impact at Lizard? I mean, perhaps. We'll see.
Well, what I would say is the city of Cleveland, I believe, pointed to the hosting of that convention and said it opened the door to more bigger events. And ultimately, as a Chamber of Commerce event, you know, I don't care whose convention it is. Prefer if it had been the Dems in 2020 when I had a little radio station in Milwaukee. But I am.
You don't care, really? I mean, so you're okay if the Nazi convention comes
I was going to both. I'm going either
This
way.
is what I'm
Doc.
telling you, but of course it matters. Doesn't it
You know
matter?
how much money I'm going to save on hotel rooms now?
Does it matter who comes to town. I mean, I understand everyone's business, but if you're going to let one Nazi in the door, then that's going to cause other Nazis to come in the door. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, who's coming absolutely matters. Whose check you're cashing absolutely matters, Crudy.
Are you calling me a whore? Are you saying I'm in this?
I'm saying that when you talk about economic impact and groups and organizations coming to town and having conventions, I think it does matter who is having what convention. Yes,
the downtown area of Milwaukee will be very, very safe. And for all your histrionics, there's not going to be Proud Boy marches in the streets. There will not be. There might be a First Amendment assembly area, some park somewhere where they can go way, way, way away from the convention center, kind of like Cleveland. But, man, we didn't see tear gas. We didn't see any substantial violence.
Different world, man. That was a long time ago.
Oh, really? It was the same damn party and the same damn convention.
Is it the same party? Are you telling me that this party right now is the same party in 2016?
Did they not embrace and make Trump their leader in that year?
They did. And you believe that this is the same party from 2016, man? I don't think it is. I mean, maybe Trump just gave them permission to be who they always have really been. Yes. I preferred when the veil was up. At least they pretended to be a little nicer. But this party and their supporters tried to overthrow the government. And these Republicans still support the big lie. And they're going to come to this town and they're going to put all that BS out there. And we're going to have to listen to it. And I have a problem with that.
Okay, I hear you whining. But if all those sayings come to pass, shouldn't Milwaukeeans, shouldn't the businesses that did not benefit from the DNC in 2020, shouldn't they benefit financially from this event? And wouldn't it be great if it did open the door to other big events? I mean, that is the hope. You know, the placement of the DNC probably proved to the RNC that the city of Milwaukee could pull its act together and host a convention. And you know what? They're going to have 50,000 people and perhaps $200 million in economic activity. And you're what? Oh, it's the wrong color money? It's not green? I mean, because I've talked to the county executive and I believe talked to the newly elected mayor. And I got to tell you, they were all down for this. The Common Council voted for this unanimously. So they're cheering for Milwaukee, man. I don't know what side you're on. I get it. You don't like the Proud Boys. You don't like the Republicans. But their cash is green.
The Proud Boys are the Republicans, Crudy. And you want to cash Proud Boy money, man, you knock yourself out. There's always a deal with the devil, and you're going to pay at some point.
Oh, man, you're acting all crazy now.
When
did you ever not? If Donald Trump bought you a tequila right now, you drink it. Come back. More devils.
I think God would want us to go to Milwaukee.
Sign on with the devil.
Kids to their first baseball game.
Remember to get your copy of the souvenir program.
Getting back to the moments we miss starts with getting informed.
This is awesome!
Get the latest info about COVID-19 vaccines at getvaccineanswers.org. It's up to you. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
President Trump lost the election. Joe Biden won the election.
Collectively, Republicans got 1.661 million votes, 51,000 more votes than Trump got.
He exhausted his cases. He exhausted the court challenges.
All the Republicans voted for Trump the way they voted for the assembly candidates. He would have won.
It was not rigged. It was not stolen. Donald Trump lost the election. Joe Biden won the election. It's really clear.
This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org.
Warning, listening to the Devil's Advocates may expose you to opposing views.
We've mentioned, inflation is going to be an issue. Let me ask you this. What would you like to see Donald Trump do if you were here? What did you suggest Biden do to address the inflationary pressures we're facing right now?
Well, I can't tell you that because that would be something you could counter and defeat Trump with or the Republican Party. So tell you.
You think Trump's taking strategy from you on talk radio, Lou?
I mean, you're no Kid Rock, Lou.
Follow the Devil's Advocates on Facebook and Twitter.
I learned patience from my adoptive dad. All he had to say was,
"Hey, you got this. Just breathe." Hey, we're pretty good.
Yeah.
Might have to start a band.
I got it.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Grass-fed, locally raised, 100% organic. The Devil's Advocates.
And we are back from the 420 break. Happy Friday to us all. Join us on the phones, 844-967-2789. Crudy Bill Glauber writing in the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel some of the facts. Republicans appear bound for Milwaukee in 2024. The GOP site selection panel on Friday unanimously picked Milwaukee as the host city for the 2024 Republican National Convention. However, Crudy, the full RNC must approve the choice during its summer meeting in Chicago on August 2nd through the 5th. A person familiar with the process said, quote, "Since day one, Milwaukee's leadership and business community have put their city before politics and welcomed the RNC."
Well, I'm glad they're more mature about it than you are, but please continue.
Well, they got skin in the game, man. I don't have as much skin in the game. And in a statement, RNC senior advisor Richard Walters said, "Today, the site selection committee voted to recommend Milwaukee to host the 2024 RNC, and it is a testament to the forthright and professional behavior embraced by Milwaukee city leaders throughout the process. A final decision will be made by Chairwoman McDaniel and the full RNC in the coming weeks." Nashville, of course, was the other finalist and could still be selected by the full RNC, but its bid stalled earlier this month when a framework agreement to host the event was pulled before a vote in the city council. There are 3 potential blocks of dates for the event in July and August of 2024. And I will tell you this, there is no more beautiful place on this planet than Milwaukee in July and August. The final decision of convention dates is expected to be made by the end of this year.
Second chance to make a big political impact, Dom. Those are also the words of Glauber. I just thought I'd throw them back at you.
What's that? Who? The Republicans?
Republicans saw it was clear Milwaukee officials wanted the convention, unlike my little buddy. And then he writes, for Milwaukee and swing state Wisconsin, hosting Republicans will provide a second chance to make a big political impression. I can't wait for us to have an opportunity to make an impression on the world, Dom. Selfishly, I feel like I do have some skin in the game. And I can't wait for the Republican Party to come here and catch some hell from us.
The mega party. The Republican Party died a long time ago.
Here's the great news. They'll be able to hear us all over the airwaves, Dom. Wherever they go in this fair state, we're going to have them covered. You know, anywhere in the state, you're going to know what sort of shenanigans are going on at the RNC in Milwaukee in 2024. And this is official, unofficial news, apparently, at this hour. Still one more vote, but apparently Milwaukee is the chosen city for the Republican convention. And I'm happy for the city of Milwaukee. I think the leaders did want this event. I think the city commerce leaders certainly wanted the event. Small business people that get to host the private parties, Tom, where the real wheeling and dealing's done. Oh, there were some great parties in Cleveland. We just weren't invited.
Oh, we went to Shooters, man.
Shooters on the river? Tuskers?
The host committee plans on raising $65 million for the event, which is expected to lure up to 50,000 visitors and provide a $200 million economic boost. Anything else here? The agreement detailed the size and scope, including the city's responsibility to apply for a $50 million security grant from the federal government. The city would also have to deploy security in key sites, including hotels, closed streets, and provide parking for about 2,500 cars and 350 buses.
A little bit more here. Convention supporters got buy-in from Milwaukee Mayor Cavalier Johnson and Milwaukee County Executive David Crowley. Now, he informed me of his fondness for this idea up in La Crosse when we were partying a little bit late night, Dom. Both were heavily involved in wooing Republican officials during a site visit and later follow-up meeting in Washington, D.C. There was also delicate negotiations with the Common Council. After an initial setback, the council signed off on a unanimous 13-0 vote on the framework of the agreement. Again, that's the Milwaukee Common Council. The agreement detailed the size and scope of the event. And guess who is going to be the local committee chair? Reince Priebus, of course.
Oh, God.
The former Trump chief of staff and Wisconsin native. Local boy making good.
Just for comparison and a much more entertaining venue, and maybe a reason I'm a little salty today. This is my first weekend in.
You're hoping to go to Nashville, or what?
That I can't go to Summerfest. There's no Summerfest this weekend, man. So I'm actually a little like, but the numbers came out on my favorite festival. 49,500 people a day at the Summerfest grounds.
That's down.
Now,
That's down relative to
last year.
pre-pandemic.
Yeah, I mean, yes, of course.
Well, here's the good news about the RNC MKE
RNC's
2024.
50,000 total. Summerfest did 45,000 a day.
Yeah, but most of those people come from here or somewhere in the 5 county. Talking about Summerfest. You know, no offense, Tom, but not everyone worships Summerfest like you do.
Apparently 49,449 people do a day.
Yeah, but you're importing 50,000 tourists for a convention, and they're all going to have to stay somewhere in the hotels. They're going to spend money in the restaurants, the bars. It'll be good for the city. Maybe not your ego. You'll be butthurt the whole time. You'll be salty because you won't be able to drive through downtown.
Ego? What does this have to do with my ego? It's got zero to do with my ego. My concern is for this community, man. My concern is a bunch of white nationalists coming to town, man.
The security.
And what happened, what we saw in Cleveland 8 years ago is not going to be like what it's going to be in Milwaukee, man.
It will be
Trump
exactly
all
like
those
that.
people.
It will be shut down. You will not be able to enter the downtown area. It will be entirely secured. It will be a complete cluster for people trying to drive through town.
The Southern Baptists will have more people there. Trump and the GOP, what was
Not
the
in the
GOP,
green
the
zone.
mega party, will bring all those people out. All the bugs from under the rocks will now converge onto Milwaukee. And I'm not convinced that any of the Republicans even know how to tip. So, you know, I don't think it's going to really be what you think it's going to be. That's my concern. I hope I'm wrong. But look what happened in D.C.
Well, that wasn't the convention. That was sort of the post-election after party, if you know what I'm saying.
Or was it a pre-convention to this convention?
You're just salty. It's Friday, man. I thought you were feeling good. It's Friday. Air the grievances here. We'll get to the phones and perhaps a few more headlines. 844-967-2789.
People against goodness and normalcy.
The Shaw 101 FM, your fix for progressive talk. From Muskego to Pewaukee. Always streaming at WAUKradio.com.
Smart Asset Realty offers everything necessary to help you successfully evaluate, acquire, and maintain any size property and maximize a property's potential value. Whether it's the first time you are purchasing a house or managing your next apartment complex, we are here to reach your real estate goals. Start investing now. We take the headaches, you keep the profit. Contact us at 262-232-8738 or visit us at smartassetrealty.com.
Se habla español.
Hi, folks. This is Kirk Bankstad at the Minocqua Brewing Company, and I am proud to introduce you to Choice, our new pink grapefruit-flavored hard seltzer. Choice was made in collaboration with Planned Parenthood of Wisconsin, and 5% of the proceeds from every can goes to support them and their fight for reproductive freedom. Choice Hard Seltzer tastes great and comes in at only 105 calories per can. Go to our website, MinocquaBrewingCompany.com, to find where you can buy Choice Hard Seltzer.
After the 3-hour meeting, Biden was asked how he could be certain there won't be another similar killing.
How can you be sure that another incident, another murder like Jamal Khashoggi's won't happen again?
Well, God love you. What a silly question. How could I possibly be sure of any of that? I just made it clear if anything occurs like that again, they'll get that response and much more.
U.S. intelligence agencies believe the Crown Prince gave the order that resulted in the brutal killing and dismemberment of Khashoggi, who was a columnist for the Washington Post. Biden released a statement today telling Democrats in Congress to quickly pass a pared-down economic measure so families could sleep easier and enjoy the health care savings it proposes. West Virginia Democrat Joe Manchin said earlier he would support a much smaller package. I'm Tim McGuire.
Thinking about life insurance? What if you could make one free phone call and learn the best price from up to 10 price-competitive companies? Well, that's exactly what happens when you call SelectQuote. For example, George is 39. He was getting sky-high quotes from other companies because he takes meds to control his blood pressure. But when I shopped around, I found him a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $22 a month. I'm SelectQuote agent Dan Savino, and believe me, if SelectQuote isn't shopping for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 800-890-6688. That's 800-890-6688. 800-890-6688. Or go to SelectQuote.com. Since 1985, we shop, you save.
Get full details on the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Your price could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
For the Shaw 101 FM WAUK 540 AM, I'm Luke Mathers with your headlines. Starting tomorrow, July 16th, 988 will be the new 3-digit number for the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline in an effort led by Senator Tammy Baldwin that individuals across the nation can call or text to get support. Although the number is new, the services offered will remain the same with easier and quicker access. With the new number also comes federal funding to increase staffing at the state's Lifeline Center until call capacity needs are met. According to the CEO of Planned Parenthood, the number of Wisconsinites seeking abortions at Illinois locations of Planned Parenthood have increased tenfold since June 24th, when the U.S. Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade, rescinding the constitutional right to an abortion. The Evers administration announced this week that more than 5,200 small businesses have received $10,000 Main Street Bounce Back grants, part of the administration's goal to support small businesses recovering from the COVID-19 pandemic. You're listening to The Shaw.
The Devil's Advocates, the fix for political junkies everywhere.
Time to go and get our kicks. Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show, the Friday edition. The political party coming to Milwaukee, like it or not, Salvia. RNC MKE 2024. It's sort of semi-official. Apparently, the RNC committee has chosen Milwaukee. And the ultimate troll to Joe Biden and the Democrats. Because, of course, Joe Biden also and the Democrats selected Milwaukee. And Joe never quite made it down. Ended up in Delaware. Here's the good news, Tom.
There was something. What was? Oh, that's right. It was a pandemic was going on. Yeah. I remember.
Well, the Republicans, regardless of public health crisis, they're having a convention come hell or high water, right? They're coming. They're not going to let up. Pandemic get in the way. Now, do you think they had a moment of pause, Tom? I understand. Masking recommendations going in place in Milwaukee effective today. I thought we were done with the pandemic. I think a lot of people did. Now there's another Omicron variant starting to creep up and infect people. And now the numbers are getting significant enough that there is not a mandate in place, but there is a recommendation. Consider wearing a mask, especially in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Especially if the Republicans are coming to town. You never know what they're going to give you. Cooties. Let's get to the phones, Tom. 844-967-2789. It's Friday. We air the grievances. I can't reach the joystick. That's mine. Now it's time. Mark, welcome. What do you got for us?
Oh, you just had to lead in with that. I kind of agree with. I kind of tend to agree with Dom. That it's the MAGAs are going to be there, and they're going to be even more violent by the time this all rolls around. That it is just that I think January 6th was just a prelude to what they have in mind, because they have no hesitation about using violence and blood. I just got Malcolm Nance's new book on They Want to Kill Americans, and it's pretty horrifying, I think, what they intend. that.
If they're coming to
talked
stir
about-
trouble, they're going to stir trouble at the DNC, would be my prediction, Mark. You know what I mean? You crap in somebody else's yard. You don't bring it in your yard. And if you think there's an affinity and an affiliation between the Republicans and the Proud Boys, why would they start fights at the RNC? Wouldn't they take that trash down to the DNC?
No, but I think that they perceive Milwaukee as a Democratic stronghold. That's like kind of a tweak.
Nashville's a blue city.
Yeah, but either way, they're going to. I think. I just kind of have some suspicions, like Dom does, is that no matter where they go, they're going to bring their violence with them, because it is.
That's part of who they are now. Brand. I mean, it's out in the open,
it's
Mark.
Part of their brand.
Yep.
And
hey, thanks for the call, man. Happy Friday to you. 844-967-2789. And I'm part of my concern.
They marching through the 8-foot
if
fences.
I may, part of my concern is the unknown between what happens between now and that convention. If Trump is indicted, right? How does the Republican Party, the megas, react?
Are we assuming he's the nominee at that time? Because that would mean he's running, and you would also be wrong about that.
Yeah, sure. Yes. I'll take that as we don't know. The other side, if Trump is not indicted, right? I'm not going to be very happy about that. And now we're going to be bringing a frickin' traitor, a guy who incited a coup, is going to come to Milwaukee. And all these Republicans are coming to this city and coming to this city. I know. I got a problem with that too, man. I can't believe that you're just accepting of it. This guy tried to overthrow the government of this country, and we're supposed to welcome him in to the city and the state?
I didn't say go give him the key. You ever go protest on him? You ever do anything other than complain? I mean, really, that's the only action you've got, is just to complain and turn your back on $200 million of revenue and say Proud Boys. I mean, I get it. I've heard it. But can you advance the conversation and be more considerate of what a proper response on our behalf
all
might
these
be?
unknowns. All right, Curdy, lay it out for me, man. Trump's indicted. What happens then? What happens in this city when a bunch of megas come in and are really pissed off that Trump all of a sudden is being persecuted? How do you think that flushes out after what we've seen at the Capitol?
Well, how does that flush out anywhere, Dom? Because under
your
scenario,
can you provide a specific answer?
Well,
I'm giving you my concern. Alleviate my concern.
I don't think I need to. Stop being so freaking hyperbolic. You saw the security in Cleveland, dude. Where's that violence?
The security in D.C. too, dude.
You didn't see that sort of security in D.C. They didn't have 8-foot fencing around the U.S. Capitol. They didn't have armed cops on every street corner. They didn't have SWAT on every street corner. Like it or not, the security will be immense. It will be blanketed with security. So you want to know where the safest place in America is going to be during the RNC 2024? Milwaukee. Milwaukee will be the safest place in America. At least in that damn green zone, man. Because the violence that you're suggesting will be controlled. Right. There will be no way to perpetrate that sort of violence through that green zone, dude. You can't do it. You're not marching through the fences. So whatever you are thinking is a worst case scenario, it's not going to happen in the downtown. It's not going to happen anywhere near the convention center. And you're not going to be able to congregate the people in the
So it'll happen outside
masses.
the green zone then. That's supposed to alleviate my concerns. After what we've seen from this party, what we've seen from the megas.
With the police presence and the security in force, you are not going to have any sort of violence.
You should not talk like that, man. You're going to curse it. I mean, think about the 68.
You've been predicting it, so how am I going to curse it?
I'm raising my concerns, Crudy, and you are not alleviating them. Oh, it won't be. They'll have the gates up, and the Secret Service and the cops will be in the green zone. But okay, what about outside the green zone? What about in the bars and restaurants outside of there?
Everywhere.
Okay,
dude.
man.
Why wouldn't we have seen any of that violence perpetrated prior?
Because this is a new day, Crudy. Have you not seen what's been going on since we went to Cleveland?
Yeah, I've been paying attention. I've been living it.
And you think that's all done now,
How many
right?
times have I walked into Trump
Is that all done now? Is that all done?
Hey, buddy, I was in Des Moines in October alone with 45,000 Trump people.
Is it all done?
I never felt a shred of fear. I'm just not fearful, man. I'm not fearful, not of the individual actions of these people. What I am fearful of is the cumulative actions of their politics. And if they're going to have it anywhere, have it where I have a radio network and I can respond to it in real time. And I can actually put a counter message out in real time where they are. You know what? I can't do that in Tennessee. I can do that here. So selfishly, I'm going to put this little baby in action, and I'm going to turn it on, and I'm going to point it at the RNC in 2024.
You guaranteeing me there will be no violence does not alleviate my concern.
Man, you
And
can't
you have not
guarantee me there's no violence outside the Deer Zone in a Bucks playoff game. There is nowhere in our society that you can guarantee no violence.
Apparently,
but I can
inside the green
guarantee
zone in
there will
Milwaukee in
not-
2024, according to you.
There will be no mass violence in the green zone because the area will be as safe and secure as anywhere in the world.
Like
It'll be
DC?
like trying to. DC was not secured in that way, and don't conflate the two.
Really? Why not?
Really?
These
You
are
want to
both-
see
these
what
are all
it's
Trump
like?
supporters, man.
Look at the video of what it was like when the Black Lives Matter people came to town. And that's what downtown Milwaukee is going to be like. There's going to be a SWAT team on every corner, dude. So if you think there's going to be random violence on the streets, that's not happening. Will somebody get punched outside a bar? Yeah, like every other Friday night in Milwaukee. Something like that'll happen. But if you think there's going to be some mass action of the Proud Boys, I think you're making that up. And I think you've been in those situations before, and you know that that will not be a feasibility.
I
with the
do not know
security in
that. I've been in
place.
those situations before, and I've been confrontational with some of those folks before. And I think this is a different time than before. That's my point. And I think you think that this is all business as usual, and I think that is absolutely off the charts wrong.
Well, take that up with the mayor and the county executive, man. I didn't make it happen. I'm just happy for the businesses in Milwaukee that are going to benefit because they didn't get a DNC.
844-967-2789. That's enough of me and Crute. Let's hear what you have to say. Jeannie from Eau Claire. Welcome, Jeannie. Happy Friday. What do you got for us?
Holy moly. I'm getting in the middle of this one, for sure.
Please do.
Let's look at the Kyle Rittenhouse's wannabe. I agree with Dom, and I think they should take their hinder enders right the heck out of our state, those dirty, rotten scoundrel traitors. And I hate to see them coming, and they better start counting all their money and get paid ahead of time for the motel room so they don't get Trump ripoff happen. So, yeah, they're going to make us look real cute down there. And guess what? They picked Milwaukee. They've run down Milwaukee, a lot of those Republicans and the people in Milwaukee. I could see them out there starting trouble and blaming other people for it. Make sure you got lots of cameras on them. Make sure you're following what they're doing. Those
Jeannie,
sons of guns.
What happens to the cockroaches when you put a bright light on them? They frickin' scatter. So
are you gonna put a bright light?
whatever sort of violence you might anticipate happening at an event like this, there's going to be bright light and security and cameras and cops and SWAT and helicopters and 8-foot fencing. So the cockroaches ain't going to be in the green zone. They're not going to be in downtown Milwaukee making this sort of trouble. That's my only
Come
thought.
to Milwaukee, Jeannie. It'll be wild.
You guys have a good weekend. I agree with you, Tom. I really do. Sorry, Crute. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Jeannie.
You're banned, Jeannie.
967-2789. Crute, I do. I hope you're right, man. I do. But I do not have any faith in the megas, man. I have zero. And again, depending on what happens between now and then, will probably exacerbate. Either he gets indicted or he doesn't. Either way, it's going to be not great. 844-967-2789. Let's go to Wisco. Paul, you are up. Happy Friday, Paul. What do you got for us?
Hey, Paul.
Hey, happy Friday to you, gentlemen, and congratulations, Cootie, for the radio network you're putting together.
Don't tell Matt Flynn though. I hear it's a big surprise to him.
Yeah. Well, you told me not to bring up any other show on your
yeah,
show,
and then Crudy does.
Yeah. And I'm behind Jeannie because Jeannie's always right. She's just a lovely lady. Hey, weren't you guys at a rally when Trump turned the crowd against you guys? Turned the crowd against the media? Do you remember that?
Yeah,
he
he's
did
done
that fairly regularly. Wisco, Paul.
Do you feel in fear of your life, Dom?
Not at that point, no. But that was, again, years ago. And they've had time to massage those feelings. And
I wish you'd have been with
Paul.
me in Des Moines and met the fine folks on a Saturday night in Des Moines eating a deep fried butter at the Trump rally and chanting, "Let's go, Brandon." But I got to tell you, Wisco, individually, I mean, come on. If this is the best and the brightest the MAGA forces have, none of them intimidate me. None of them. You know, their combined IQ is about 9. So, you know, ultimately, Mobs of people can do violent things. But there was a much greater likelihood of mob violence in Des Moines in October, that hot night I was there, than there will ever be during a controlled event like a RNC convention.
Well, we're well armed, and if I would have been in the media that day, I would have been a little worried. But you're a braver man than I am, Cody. But I go back to, what Jeannie said. Hey, and one last thing. Can I have a grievance?
Absolutely. It's Friday, man.
Take two. They're cheap.
Yeah, okay. More fuel to the fire. My grievance is against the Secret Service deleting things that pertain to the J6 investigation. So that's kind of spooky also.
We suspect, but don't know. It seems quite sketchy to us, Paul.
Yeah, right. It's all sketchy. J6 never happened, right? Anyway, you guys.
Well, here's the great news. When the RNC comes to Milwaukee in 2024, they'll be providing all the security clearances.
Well, then you and Dom will be cool. So, hey, at any rate, you guys have a great weekend, and thanks for taking my call. Great show today.
Thanks, Paul.
Appreciate it, man. Have a good
We're just getting started. You don't even know. This show's getting better all the time, especially with your participation at 844-967-2789. A breaking headline has captured our attention right from the top. The RNC is committed, apparently, voted that they're coming to Milwaukee. That's the semi-unofficial winning of the RNC convention for Milwaukee. I think it's good economic news for Milwaukee. Dom's a little butthurt. Thinks the Proud Boys are bringing violence and destruction and wrath and plagues and Donald Trump, perhaps. And I said, I just want a front row to history. And we're going to get it. And we'll take you with our fair audience. Come back. More Devils.
Man, they were nihilists, man.
Huh?
They kept saying they believed in nothing.
I mean, say what you want about the tenets of National Socialism, dude. At least it's an ethos.
And they weren't there for him, they were there for me.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
You're never completely ready to adopt a teen.
For late nights writing English papers.
For your teen's music taste.
For dinners, where they talk more on their phone than with you.
For the first time, they call you mom.
You're never completely ready to adopt a teen, and you can't imagine the reward.
To learn more about adopting a teen, visit adoptuskids.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
The Devil's Advocates. Never personal, only politics.
Relative to population, I believe Waukesha County is running like twice the mortality rate of Dane County.
Right. Well, and then you and your wife braved Mayville to see the band or the play.
But man, I'm vaxxed, I'm boosted. I'm feeling pretty good about life. Well, I don't know about good shape, but I'm vaxxed and I'm boosted.
Yeah, did you have a couple glasses of wine up there?
No wine, lots of rum. Rum-tum-tum.
Follow the Devil's Advocates on Facebook and Twitter.
Hi there, I'm Kirk Bankstad and I own the Minocqua Brewing Company. And I also have a super PAC. We make good trouble in the North Woods of Wisconsin. You can support our efforts at theminocquabrewingcompany.com and buy our woke gear like t-shirts, hoodies, and trucker hats. Enter the code RADIO and get 10% off on your next purchase. A portion of all sales support the Minocqua Brewing Company Super PAC, which is dark money meant for good. That's theminocquabrewingcompany.com.
19, brought to you by CDC and the Ad Council.
Feel like your emotions are all over the place? A healthy routine that includes enough sleep, exercise, and proper nutrition can help you feel more centered.
Find more self-care and coping tips at coping-19.org.
The Devil's Advocates. The fix for political junkies everywhere.
We are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. It's Friday. We air the grievances. I got one. 844-967-2789 if you have one as well.
Dominic, I'm not sure if you're hangry or what's going on today, but I think I have an insight. Here's what's bothering my little buddy. Here's why he's so butthurt. Because we were expecting depositions from the former president today under oath and the Trump kids. And somehow he escaped depositions because his 30-year ex-wife died?
I don't know, man.
And above and beyond that, apparently Donald Trump was sending out fundraising email missives on the occasion of his ex-wife's death. Like, hey, ding dong, the witch is dead. Send me $27. I didn't read the actual fundraising missive, but I suspect it was something to that effect. You're a little butthurt that the Trumps didn't have to be deposed today.
How does this happen? Reuters reporting, and then we'll get to the phone briefly. Former President Trump testimony at the New York Attorney General civil investigation into his business practices will not take place, nor will daughter Ivanka or Jr. be questioned under oath as planned, the office said in the statement. The Attorney General's office said it had received a request from counsel for the Trumps to adjourn the depositions in light of Ivanka and Donald Jr.'s mother passing. The Trumps sought for months to avoid being questioned. Quote, this is a temporary delay and the depositions will be rescheduled as soon as possible. Now, I did read some of the reporting regarding Ivana. Is that her name? Ivana, Trump's ex, was found at the bottom of the stairs with a heart attack. The timing is a little suspect, I got to be honest. I'm not sure if they Epsteined her or what the deal was, but hell, anything to get out of a deposition, right, Trump? I mean, even so, and here's my thought. Now, perhaps they're all going to be
Wouldn't Trump see that as
the same day, so that way, you don't want to bring Trump in and leave the kids out. That way, Trump can, inform the kids of, what the questions were. So I'm not clear how this is all going to go down. But if that's not the case, I cannot think of another reason. I mean, I can understand why the junior and the daughters would not go. But Trump's been divorced from her for how long? 30 years? And so because of that, you're not going to show up to a deposition? Come on.
Dom, when your ex-wife dies, and that gives you a rationale to not be deposed under oath.
And raise some money.
Trump would call that a win-win-win.
You're right.
You are all winners because you're listening to the Devil's Advocates right now. Although I keep losing my
I got it, man. 844-967-2789.
Losing my mind around here.
Dan from Madtown, you are up. Welcome, Dan. Happy Friday. What do you got?
Hello, guys. So I actually think there's going to be two things happening in Milwaukee. One, either no violence at all. There's not going to be violence in the green zones. That's just not going to happen just because of all the security, and the Republicans don't want that story out there. The two options are there's going to be violence outside, and Republicans are going to blame BLM and Antifa and spin the story, or there's not going to be violence, and they're going to be like, see, they don't care that nobody's coming out and protesting. We must be right. So either way,
I think there'll be enormous protest, Dan, whether or not they turn violent ultimately, whether there are confrontations from, let's say, the Proud Boys, as Dom fears, and let's say Black Lives Matter protesters, perhaps not the green zone, but somewhere over in northern Milwaukee, let's say, marching through Bronzeville. I certainly think there could be individual cases of violence whenever you have protest and counter-protest. That happens all over the nation. But I don't know why Milwaukee is somehow special because it's hosting the RNC, why that is somehow different than what's happened in Portland or in other places where people march against each other.
Well, the big reason why I think it's going to be important in Milwaukee is because of the RNC. It's going to be a talking point used by politicians, either liberals or if there's violence, they're going to blame it on any liberal or any moderate that does protest against them. And the big issue is getting that rehabilitation through independent voters, and that's what they're trying to go for. They're trying to, poke the bear to get some reaction, so that way they can come out as the heroes, or that, see, we're better than the DNC, we're better than all these groups. And see, we had the Proud Boys here. They're not violent. They were here. They were just here to help support Trump. That's what I think will come out of it. That's my opinion.
Dan, I appreciate you listening and offering your opinion today at 844-967-2789. Dom, I suggested action steps. What I think, in light of the RNC coming to Milwaukee and their adoration for the Second Amendment, if no other, right? I think we need to make sure that Milwaukee is armed in a Second Amendment fashion. Assault rifles, especially Black Milwaukee, for their personal safety, right? They need to protect their neighborhoods. These outsiders are coming in. Well, I think that would be a fine form of Second Amendment protest if Milwaukee just bought up all the AR-15s and everybody came armed. Well, wouldn't the Republicans feel, like welcome
Safe?
guests then?
They'd be fair. Everyone's safe if everyone's got a gun. Oh, what did Han Solo say? I got a bad feeling about this. 844-967-2789. Susan from her car. Welcome, Susan. What do you got for us?
Hey, Susan.
Oh, hi. Oh, hi, you guys. Actually, I'm all for tourism, but I know that this also costs the city of Milwaukee a lot of money. And the other thing is that there are other venues that Milwaukee could go after that would be less sparking, have feelings on either side about. I just really feel like most of these people go down to Joe's Bar and Grill. They're not going to check out some great places in Milwaukee. They're just going to hang around in the green zone, as you put it, and stay at the better hotels. It's not like they're going to go to a B&B.
They're going to stay at all the hotels, Susan. No, they're going to need all the hotel rooms in southern Wisconsin.
But these are, from my standpoint, when I travel, when I'm a tourist, I like to see parts of the cities that I haven't seen before. And I guess I look at it that these aren't really tourists. This is just a big event. It's going to cost Milwaukee a lot of money. And yes, I'm not really a proponent of this, but if it helps Milwaukee, I'm okay at that point. But I feel on the other side of the coin, I feel like Milwaukee needs to start going after some smaller venues that come in and showcase some of the great spots in Milwaukee. It doesn't have to be a Democratic National Convention or the Republican National Convention, but if you have lots of smaller venues like the party on the lake,
well, we got the big gig, and there are lots of wonderful festivals in the city of Milwaukee
And
during the summer
conventions all the time, yeah.
But these are enormous conventions. It's like getting an all-star game. And here's what I would say: those that remember when County Stadium became Miller Park, and the All-Star Game was awarded when they built that stadium, and it rolled out a year late. Tragedy. And what happened? I went to the game, and George W. Bush threw out the first pitch, and I hated Bush, kind of like Trump. Tom hates Trump. It's all analogous. It's all very analogous.
Trump's very worse.
But I cannot emphasize that there must be no violence, no law breaking, and no vandalism of any kind.
That's a great idea. Okay, how do we do that?
Stand back and stand by.
This is Norm from Martha Merrill Books in downtown Waukesha, 231 West Main Street. We've been in business now almost 28 years. We're the book detectives. We can find adult and children's books, even if they're out of print. If we can't find it, it's probably not available. At Martha Merrill's, we specialize in unique gifts. We sell puppets and stuffed animals, but we don't sell watches because we're timeless. We do gift wrapping. When you walk out of the store, you have a present ready. Martha Merrill Books, 231 West Main Street.
WAUK and the Shaw are the new kids on the radio block, and that block happens to be on Wisconsin Ave, Waukesha. Now is a great time to advertise locally with 540 AM and the Shaw 101 FM, while the ads are inexpensive and the audience is rapidly growing. Sponsorships available for This Week in Waukesha, Raised in the Shaw, or live local music on the weekends. Spring packages starting at just $495 a month. Get started today by emailing info@waukradio.com.
You are listening to WAUK 540 AM Jackson, W226DR Waukesha, always streaming at WAUKradio.com. The Shaw 101 FM, Brookfield's choice for news talk radio. Streaming 24/7 at WAUKradio.com.
Smart Asset Realty offers everything necessary to help you successfully evaluate, acquire, and maintain any size property and maximize a property's potential value. Whether it's the first time you are purchasing a house or managing your next apartment complex, we are here to reach your real estate goals. Start investing now. We take the headaches, you keep the profit. Contact us at 262-232-8738 or visit us at smartassetrealty.com.
Se habla español.
Hey, it's Kristen Bry from Asgos, Wisconsin, which is now a radio show. That's right, I'm taking the same fun and uncomplicated approach to talking about state and local news to the airwaves. Starting July 5th, me and my friends from all parts of the state and all different backgrounds will break down the Wisconsin headlines in a way that informs, entertains, and hopefully makes you laugh. Tune in to Asgos, Wisconsin with Kristen Bry, Monday through Friday from 12 p.m. to 2 on 101 FM The Shaw and WAUK 540 AM.
Hey there, my name is Kirk Bankstad and I own the Minocqua Brewing Company. I teamed up with Pat Kreitlow, the managing director of Up North News, to create the Up North podcast. We're going to talk about Wisconsin news and culture through the eyes of northern Wisconsinites, but also through our progressive viewpoints in the heart of one of the reddest parts of our state. We'll be doing our show live on the Shaw 101 FM and WAUK 540 AM on Wednesday nights at 7. And you can check out the podcast at upnorthpodcast.com.
The Shaw 101 FM, WAUK 540 AM, Waukesha's only news talk station.
For the Shaw 101 FM, WAUK 540 AM, I'm Luke Mathers with your headlines. According to Wisconsin Elections Commission Administrator Megan Wolf, Wisconsinites should mail their absentee ballots themselves in the August and November elections. Administrator Wolf made the statement when meeting with reporters on Thursday after last Friday's Wisconsin Supreme Court ruling that absentee ballot drop boxes cannot be used in elections since they are not outlined in state law. Wolf said that individuals with disabilities should refer to federal law when receiving assistance in returning their absentee ballots, something the state's highest court did not address in their ruling last week. The Milwaukee Brewers beat the San Francisco Giants last night 3-2 with a 10th inning single by Jonathan Davis to bring in Christian Yelich for the winning score. Scattered showers and thunderstorms throughout the day with winds up to 10 miles an hour, a 60% chance for rain, and a high today of 69 degrees. Mostly cloudy skies expected this evening with an overnight low of 61 degrees. You're listening to the Shaw 101 FM WAUK 540 AM.
Radio 540 AM and 101 FM is produced right in the Shaw in beautiful downtown Waukesha, Wisconsin.
Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves and corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening. 3, 2, 2, 1. Now live from the Devil Radio Studios in Madison, Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning. Welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Here is your host, Mike Crute.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocate Radio Show, the TGIF edition. Welcome to our friends listening on AM 950 in Minneapolis. Some surprising news on this Friday. Thought it was going to be a slow news day, Dom. The RNC coming to Milwaukee. It's been a contentious hour. You were quite butthurt. Boo. I actually think it's good news for the city of Milwaukee. Why did they try to get the convention if they didn't want it? Clearly, they wanted it. Congratulations, Milwaukee. And other butthurt individuals like Dom. We've got time for your calls today. Air the grievances. 844-967-2789 if I can finish, but go ahead.
844-967-2789. Is this good or bad for the city of Milwaukee, the state of Wisconsin? I think it's bad. I think it's going to end bad. I have a bad feeling about this. I do not like what the GOP has become. And there's a lot of unknown as far as how are the megas going to react, depending on what the J6 ends up with, depending on what the DOJ ends up doing, depending on what happens in Georgia, depending on what happens in the state of New York. I have a lot of concerns, and nobody.
Come on, man! It's going to be the party of DeSantis soon. Ron DeSantis' coronation coming to Milwaukee, 2024.
And that's the other. Let's think about that for a moment. We haven't really touched on that. What if there's a split within the Republican Party, within the megas themselves?
Again,
and they start doing the right-on-right violence, man. Who knows what's going to happen? I'm very concerned. I get the
that's when you call money. Up Paul Manafort.
I get the potential for the money, but there's other conventions, man. I'm sure there's a weed convention or a Comic-Con you could get. There is going to be trading of dollars. So while it may be higher, net it won't be as high as perhaps people think it might be. And given the downside circumstances, given the fact that the city of Milwaukee is now very professionally, as the RNC said, very professional in their dealings with them, and how they've dealt and their efforts to bring the RNC to Milwaukee, I can appreciate that, but it still concerns me greatly.
No, Dominic,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I hear your concern. I don't share it, certainly not in the same degree. And I can tell you as a businessman, I'm a businessman, small businessman, been one for like 25 years. Never asked a man his politics before I cashed his check. Never once. Never once asked a guy at a bar, are you a Republican? Before I'd buy him a beer or accept one from him. And I understand. I mean, these Republicans, you and I are here. We're talking about the J6. We're talking about the threat to democracy. We're talking about the fascist tendencies. Man, I got my whole life committed to trying and counterbalance that with the truth. The election was not stolen. Donald Trump did not didn't get rigged against the man. There isn't massive voter fraud. All that stuff. We push back. We fight each and every day for the truth. But ultimately, man, is there ever going to be a day in our society where we get beyond the R's and the D's and we can just be happy for a city because they got a big convention coming to town?
The answer is yes. But here's the problem. This isn't the Paul Ryan and Mitt Romney convention, man. This is a guy who,
because that would be a real boring convention.
I want boring. Boring's fine. This guy foments violence. He encourages it, Crudy. He tried to overthrow the government. If he is the nominee and he is here in Milwaukee in that, what does that mean? That means that the DOJ did nothing about it. That means the J6 hearings didn't have any impact. That means that we as a country have now decided that even if you lose a free and fair election, that you can just decide to overthrow the government and nothing will happen to you. That is going to be chaos, Crudy. That is chaos. And that will be an opportunity for those that have a problem about that to let their feelings be known nose to nose with the Proud Boys and the Patriot Front and the Oath Keepers and whatever, clan group comes out and decides that they're down with the fascism. And you're down with cashing the fascist checks, man. I'm not. I think that's terrible. Terrible. People did business with Nazis, man. That didn't turn out too well.
Oh, I'm a war profiteer now because I'm happy for Milwaukee for getting a convention. That's entirely analogous, just the same.
Would you cash Donald Trump's check right now, Crudy?
If Donald Trump was a qualified candidate, he bought airtime on this radio station.
No, I know you're obligated as an FCC. That's not. If Donald Trump comes to you and says, Michael Crude, I'm going to pay you a suitcase full of cash to do X, Y, or Z. You taking that money?
I got some integrity in this world, right?
Is that a yes or a no? I'm just asking for a yes or no question.
I tell you what, if some stranger walked up to me on the street and said, I want to buy some radio ads, let me hear your ads. Okay, they're your goods and commerce. That's what I do, man.
That's not what I'm asking you, Crudy. If Donald Trump comes to you and says, Crudy, here's a bag full of money. I want you to do something. It has nothing to do with radio. Go pick up my dry cleaning. Right? Are you going to do it?
How much money?
Whatever money.
And how far away is the dry
take?
cleaner?
How much money does it take, Crudy?
Well, a couple $100,000, I'd go get the man's dry cleaner.
Because now we've already decided what the deal is. Now we're just negotiating price. And I think given that man's character and what we're dealing with as a country right now because of him and because of the Republicans that support him, we're dealing with this now. I think absolutely you do not take that money, regardless of how much it is.
Well, that's great. As an individual, you can make that decision for yourself.
Do you make that decision,
as
Crudy?
a business owner who maybe has a venue in downtown Milwaukee who didn't get the benefit of the 2020 DNC money, and I have payroll to make, let's say to staff, you know what? My obligation is greater than my own selfishness or my own ideology. I do have an obligation to keep those people employed. What, am I going to close the shop for a week? Okay, you're a small business owner. Dom, casting the hypothetical. You own a big sports bar across from the Fiserv Forum, and the RNC is coming to town. Are you serving them? Of course you are, or you're going out of business, and that doesn't do you any good. You know, you can be high and mighty down in the bankruptcy
It's not about
court.
high and mighty, Curry. Do you understand what's at risk here? Do you understand what you are accepting? Do you understand what you're saying? You're normalizing. Yes, Donald Trump, come on in, buy a beer. Hell, here's one on the house, Mr. President. If there's no consequence for those actions, man, the world that is going to be is not one that you think is going to be.
Okay, when all the staff is in the unemployment line and the bank's foreclosed on the lease of the property, I'll keep that.
I'm pretty sure
high and
one
mighty
weekend,
ideology
again,
in
trading
mind.
dollars one weekend isn't going to kill people, Crudy. But it is. It's your decision. It's everyone's decision to make for
So
themselves.
you're saying the entire
and I'm
city,
telling you that I will
Milwaukee
not do
should
business
boycott and not
with
cash
fascists.
the money.
I will not do business
Okay.
with fascists.
Okay, so don't go out that week. You leave the city and you leave the reporting to the rest of us.
What
But
does that have to
ultimately-
do with doing business with fascists, Crudy? Can you say it? Crudy, say it with me. I'm not going to do business with fascists.
I'm not going to do business with fascists.
Thank
But
you.
when they start carrying cards around and wearing labels, hey, I'm a fascist. I'm not doing business with you. But when in life do you ever walk around like that, Dom? How do you identify the
They made
fascist in
T-shirts
life?
when they went to D.C. to ransack the Capitol, man. Apparently, it's pretty common. The Proud Boys have outfits. The Oath Keepers have outfits. The Patriot Front groups have outfits. The Klan has outfits. It's very clear who they are, Crudy. You cashing those checks?
You know what? Unless they're walking in hoods and brown shirts, if people walk in my establishment street clothes, you know what? I'm probably serving them.
Well,
if
how would you
RNC
know,
convention's in town and there are RNC conventioners, I'm probably serving them. Because you know what? Most people in this world, I get it. We live politics. And this is very important. And I think the politics that we talk about and what happened on January 6th and the fascism and all that stuff, you know, I believe it in my soul of souls. And I believe I have a soul. But we cannot change our society and completely cut off anyone that's ever voted for Donald Trump or had an R behind their name or whatever the case may be. I mean, there is no way we can separate. A nation divided against itself cannot stand. So at some point, we're going to have to reach across the aisle. And I'm not saying with insurrectionists. I'm not saying with violent people that try to harm cops and break into the U.S. Capitol. But you know what? There are some people that are Republicans that might come to Milwaukee and spend money despite the fact that they voted Republican a couple times, maybe Mitt Romney, Paul Ryan. And oh yeah, Trump, because he was the nominee. But maybe they've learned from that lesson. Maybe they've moved on to Ron DeSantis, or hell, maybe it's Kristi Noem or some other. But no, dude, I, in this life, don't walk around looking for fascists to not do business with. For the most part, I've sat on the bar stool next to a couple of people I really had to wonder about, and I still found some point of commonality. I could still move them on some issue, no matter how freaking much of a loser I thought they were. Speaking of, welcome back, CJ.
Hey, CJ.
See how I
Happy
set you up like that,
Friday.
CJ? I was saying sort of nice things. I was trying to, say we can be inclusive of our conservative friends. So don't let me down, CJ. How about those gas prices? Under $4 on University Ave.
Well, I love putting a smile on your face by poking at me because you guys sound really frustrated. And you know what? You could almost taste it, I bet. But the real issue is 2022. You guys, you're wishing in one hand and you know what in the other. Merrick Garland doesn't have a case. There's going to be no charges filed. You guys are wishing on something, and we got bigger issues than Donald Trump right now. We got record inflation. Record. 40 years.
Dude, you know the gas prices have come down for a month straight. You know the inflation numbers are about to peak and crest and come back down, right?
Oh, really? So
a month from now,
40
CJ, you're not
years
going to be whining about the gas
25
prices. You're going to be
high?
whining about something else. Benghazi or Afghanistan or whatever you think Joe Biden's guilty of this week.
Well, you know, it's okay for it's not okay for the Secret Service to destroy their messages, but it's okay for you guys to have Hillary Clinton destroy hers. And it costs
CJ, you know,
apparently you weren't listening back then.
I tried to make accommodations for guys like you, but more devils. We'll be back.
What's that on your chest, mister?
It's a pledge pin, sir.
A pledge pin on your uniform!
Like a herd mentality.
You're all worthless and weak. Thank you, sir. May I have another?
Getting lost in a city you always wanted to visit.
Pardon, madame. Pardon. S'il vous plaît. Je cherche un restaurant. Merci.
Getting back to the moments we miss starts with getting informed.
This is so cool.
Get the latest info about COVID-19 vaccines at getvaccineanswers.org. It's up to you. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
President Trump lost the election. Joe Biden won the election.
Collectively, Republicans got 1.661 million votes, 51,000 more votes than Trump got.
He exhausted his cases. He exhausted the court challenges.
All the Republicans voted for Trump the way they voted for the assembly candidates, and he would have won.
It was not rigged. It was not stolen. Donald Trump lost the election. Joe Biden won the election. It's really clear.
This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org.
Speaker Voss, I understand you don't have any children. Does that mean he's been possibly practicing
sex with
contraceptives?
What?
Or is he just less than a man? How do you go through the entire life 3 wives later and no chitlins?
Shooting blanks?
Perhaps.
Pull and pray.
Doubtful.
Not getting any.
Unlikely.
Unable to perform.
More likely.
Paying for it.
I hate to judge.
We don't judge here. We're the Devil's Advocate.
Listen to the Devil's Advocates live weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m.
Hi, we're the Goo Goo Dolls. We're fortunate that our daughters have what they need to grow and learn. But that isn't the case for nearly 13 million kids in the U.S. that struggle with hunger.
Childhood hunger is a heartbreaking reality that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and provides it to families and children in need.
You can help kids in need in your community by visiting feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
The Devil's Advocates. Making radio great again.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Thank you for the Bob Marley, man. I've been listening to some Bob Marley today. It's kind of been helping me out. Join us on the phones, 844-967-2789. Got a little discussion going on here. The megas, the RNC is coming to Milwaukee for 2024 convention. I think that's a bad idea. Curtis thinks it's a great idea.
Bad idea that Joe Biden was fist bumping with a alleged murderer today. MBS.
Bonesaw
MBS. Now, politics make strange bedfellows. That's a prime example, right? The president of the United States today traveling to Saudi Arabia claimed he'd never do that. And then you got guys like CJ just beating the crap out of Biden over the gas prices, right? Inflation. It's up highest in 40 years. So the president feels like he's got to do something for the American people. And he goes and makes a compromise with an alleged bonesaw killer, right? The guy that killed Khashoggi, or at least ordered the killing of Khashoggi.
Strangled him and dismembered him with a bone saw. Yes, that guy.
Are you boycotting Biden also?
I am not pleased. Now, at least he didn't bow to the Saudi royalty like Obama did, but the fist bump is...
Did he hold hands like W did?
Right, dude, right. I have a I don't know. And maybe when you get to that upper echelon of world geopolitical, intrigue, they got a library or book or something I don't know about. But when you have the leader of the free world bowing and fist bumping and holding hands with despots. I don't think that's a great look.
I'll share the memo after the show with you, Dom. 844-967-2789. Jim from St. Louis Park, listening on AM 950, I suspect. Welcome, Jim.
Hey, Jim.
When you're talking about it as a choice, your employees going on the unemployment line, you have to remember that before Trump was a corrupt president, he was a corrupt businessman who didn't pay people. And a lot of construction companies went out of business because he owed people, whatever, $52 million. And he said, you know what, I'm going to pay $45 million. Go talk to my lawyers. And that's, he couldn't loan money in the U.S. and he had to go to Russian money laundering.
Well, Jim, there's no doubt. I'm sorry you don't have a great line today, but there's no doubt there has been alleged corruption against Donald Trump all the way back to the beginning of his history as a businessman. And he apparently used scab labor and got Trump Tower built during a construction strike, during a union strike in New York City. But somehow he was getting the concrete poured. And it's always been alleged that, he was in bed with mobsters. I'm not clear. I don't have any clear proof that that's the case. But, if it quacks like a duck and they pour concrete during a strike in New York City, there might be an association there. But yes, he has used the courts and he has stiff contractors and he has bankrupted business after business after business. So from the perspective of the city of Milwaukee, get the cash up front.
All right, big deposit, folks.
844-967-2789. Although the inauguration committee, I hear they had plenty of money to throw around. Our friend Joe from Madison, you've been patient. Welcome, Joe.
Hi, Joe.
Hi, you guys. Thanks for the spirited discussion. It's really important.
We got spirit. Yes, we do. We got spirit. How about you?
I hope you have some beers after the show. That's what I hope. So some wonderful beers. So I wanted to add my thoughts into this discussion and to say that the old adage that when people show you who they are, believe them. What I have seen, and it's not just Donald Trump, I have seen a Republican Party that is absolutely A-OK with plotting a coup against our government, basically devaluing our votes, devalue them and just throw them away. Which Republicans have come out against that? What do we have? Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger? They couldn't get Republicans to be on that committee, which is why they ended up with the J6 formation that they have, because the only two that would agree to come on were Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger. The rest of the Republicans have been sitting on their hands. The 146 in the Congress that voted to not certify the election, our own Senator Ron Johnson running around at the last minute with the fake electors trying to get the attention of Pence. It's nuts. And that we would be involved with this, man, it is, I appreciate what you're saying, Crudy, about reaching across the aisle and trying to find common ground. And then I would offer to you that you took CJ's call, and you had been talking for the last 5 minutes about trying to find commonality, and he did not respond at all. He did not.
Yeah, but CJ is kind of an ass, Joe. I mean, he's not reflective of all human beings.
But he's pretty reflective, seemingly, of the megas, Joe.
He sure is, and I think that's my point. He's worried about constantly, he's sounding the alarm about inflation. You gave him facts that said that inflation was coming down, totally ignored them, and totally ignores what is happening in this country. The right to privacy is gone. That right is gone, and they have just started on dismantling what that involves. I mean, for people with daughters, people with wives, women in this country, it is going to be a rough road. It has just started, and it's not going to stop with women. It's going to be gay marriage. It's going to be a host of things in which people assume that they had rights that have existed, and they're gone. With right to privacy out the window, with this court endorsed by these Republicans, we are going to be in a world of hurt, and people are going to be real surprised at the things that are going to be blowing up. And I hear you, Crudy, about trying to find, that's good for business and all, but man, oh man, I don't think it's going to be a good move. And I think that the possibility of violence, I won't predict on that. All I'll say is the Republican Party now, these days, is MAGA. Is it going to change in the future? I don't know. But what you're dealing with right now is MAGA. And man, they overtook our government, and then the people who weren't directly involved sat on their hands and did nothing. So that's my 2 cents. And maybe I need a beer. Thanks, you guys.
Have to, Joe.
Thank you, Joe. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you listening, Joe. And you know, when you said, when someone shows you their true colors, believe them. Something to that effect. I think Maya Angelou had the original quote. We paraphrase. But I thought you were referencing to Dom's occasional assishness. Gets on my nerves some Fridays. You know what I'm saying? Come back with us. More Devil's Advocates on the other side. 844-967-2789. Just be kind. Dom's a little butthurt.
And be patient, callers. We'll get you in just a moment.
I never went bankrupt, by the way, as you know, everybody knows.
You believe that story? You believe that?
And I'll go ahead and make sure you get another copy of that memo.
The Shaw 101 FM, your fix for progressive talk. From Big Bend to Menominee Falls. Always streaming at WAUKradio.com.
This is Norm from Martha Merrill Books in downtown Waukesha, 231 West Main Street. We've been in business now almost 28 years. We're the book detectives. We can find adult and children's books, even if they're out of print. If we can't find it, it's probably not available. At Martha Merrill's, we specialize in unique gifts. We sell puppets and stuffed animals, but we don't sell watches because we're timeless. We do gift wrapping. When you walk out of the store, you have a present ready. Martha Merrill Books, 231 West Main Street.
President Trump lost the election. Joe Biden won the election.
Collectively, Republicans got 1.661 million votes, 51,000 more votes than Trump got.
He exhausted his cases. He exhausted the court challenges.
All the Republicans voted for Trump the way they voted for the assembly candidates. He would have won.
It was not rigged. It was not stolen. Donald Trump lost the election. Joe Biden won the election. It's really clear.
This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org.
$10-year, $500,000 policy for under $22 a month. I'm SelectQuote agent Dan Savino, and believe me, if SelectQuote isn't shopping for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 800-890-6688. That's 800-890-6688. 800-890-6688. Or go to SelectQuote.com. Since 1985, we shop, you save.
Get full details on the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Or price could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
I'm Pat Kreitlow, the founding editor of Up North News. We're a state-based digital newsroom rooted in politics, policy, and the best parts of living in Wisconsin. We report the day's top stories, hold our leaders accountable, and cut through the both sidesism that makes a lot of news products so vague. We're a newsroom that's not afraid to stand for something, call things as they are, not what a consultant would want us to say so that no one is unhappy. Plus, we share stories about Wisconsin people, places, history, events, and more. We love living here. That's why it's worth fighting for. But to get our democracy functional again, news has to be something that helps a voter feel informed, not overwhelmed. along with my daily headlines and commentary here on the radio. You can find our stories on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Search for Up North News WI. Don't forget the WI, and sign up for our daily newsletter at upnorthnewswi.com.
The Devil's Advocates. Never personal, only politics.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show, the Friday edition, rolling through the happy hour. Your grievances, they're accepted here. 844-967-2789. Got a quick update, Dom. We now have a cause of death for Ivana Trump, and it's mysterious. Died of blunt force injuries to her torso. Now, there had been prior reports she fell down the stairs, right? But now I'm starting to wonder.
Well, the good news is, if there is any good news to come out of a tragic death, her ex-husband didn't have to testify to Tish James in the state of New York on his alleged fraud charges. So, he's got that going for him.
Well, and it also gave him an occasion to fundraise them. So, win-win-win, as described earlier. It's a win for Joe Biden. The prospect of another Donald Trump presidency. The biggest positive that Joe Biden could have, and I've seen the articles. Oh, Joe Biden better not run for re-election. Nobody wants Joe Biden to run for re-election. Well, he claims he's running again. And, one must assume he's the incumbent, he's the president, he'd be the nominee, and, hopefully he'd win. But if you want to see it come to fruition, Donald Trump, he is the magic ticket for Joe Biden to win re-election. Because we talked about these issues and the callers called in, and we've been talking about the prospect of the DNC coming to Milwaukee. And if you didn't hear, pardon me, the RNC, the Republican National Committee, has apparently awarded Milwaukee the convention for 2024. And all those bad things, those issues, the overturning of Roe v. Wade and all these different things that singularly seem like a big deal to us. And they're enough reason for me not to ever vote for Republicans again in our lives. But ultimately, Donald Trump will crystallize all of that in the personification of all things politically evil. And the greatest gift that Joe Biden could ever receive is Donald Trump announcing his candidacy for re-election. You heard it here first.
844-967-2789. Strange times, folks. Dick from Madison, Europe. What do you got for us today, buddy?
Who's the wonderful caller from the West Coast that always...
L.A. Tom.
L.A. Tom. I'm going to be L.A. Tom tonight with CJ. Gas is at $3.83. It dropped again today. The barrel price is at about $94. And if that really transpired into what it should be at the pump, it would be $3.25. So who's your culprit? Joe Biden or the oil companies?
Oh, gas is way more expensive in Europe, and that's Joe Biden's fault too, if you believe Republicans did.
Oh, of course it is.
Yeah, but to your point, though, Dick, I mean, given where gas, the cost of a barrel is now, and how it always is so weird that when prices go up, gas damn near follows oil. But when prices go down, it just takes it so much longer. There must be some paperwork or something that has to get through, Dick. It's amazing how that happens.
And it just never gets back to that point. But who pushed Trump's ex-wife down the stairs?
That's a great question.
I think it was an hour.
Yeah. This is getting so outrageous, guys. This guy is an absolute thug criminal who Merrick Garland, are you listening? Get off the dime and get on it.
Merrick Garland, sorry, Dick, but if Merrick Garland is listening, we'd like him to join right now at 844-967-2789. We're going to make time for more of your Friday grievances. Who actually came up with the bright idea that the best thing that could happen to Joe Biden Or as the headline says, the one thing that could save Joe Biden, well, Donald Trump's candidacy. You know who actually said it first? Charlie Sykes.
Ugh.
Your buddy from formerly of TMJ. Now he's changed his stripes and become an MSNBC contributor. And he writes over at the Bulwark. Maybe we'll throw some of that in before we're done today. But we still got your calls, 844-967-2789. Our pal, PT. Don't call him T-Bone. Welcome, PT.
Hey, PT.
Hey, guys. How are you?
Good.
Awesome, man.
Good enough. Milwaukee got the RNC. I'm ecstatic, PT.
Yeah, before Dom gets his hopes up for the RNC coming here and his opportunity to volunteer to give out Trump buttons to white Southern boys, I would like to suggest that the RNC is playing Milwaukee against Memphis. I really do. Call me cynical, but
Nashville. But yes, we get your point. But Nashville rescinded their bid.
Yeah, they did, but they're still working on it. So I think RNC's kind of pushing them a little bit by working Milwaukee. I don't know.
Tough negotiations, anyway. PT. Is that what you're saying?
Perhaps, but let me add one more thing. I think actually the good thing that the RNC is coming here, regardless of my political views, because this is for the state. I think Chevy Johnson, our new mayor, he's an incredible communicator, very, very positive, and I think he wanted to extend an olive branch to the Republicans. Can you imagine if the Common Council said, no, we don't want this here? I think there's some really good vibes that could be created by Milwaukee saying, come on, RNC, you're welcome here. All right?
Well, Milwaukee gets the short shift right now, PT. Right now, in terms of taxes, for every dollar Milwaukee sends to Madison, they only get 67 cents back. Well, to change that dynamic, you need the cooperation of Republican lawmakers. So if I were the mayor of Milwaukee and I was trying to make nice with some Republican lawmakers here in the state of Wisconsin, hell, winning a RNC bid, well, you got to think, PT, that'd be a hell of a way to start.
I don't believe it. I think that's a nice thought, PT, but I don't think that they're going to hold. They're always going to rip. Listen, this isn't what it was, man. They're not going to say, oh, well, we're against you on all these things and we don't want your votes to count. We call you a bunch of fraudsters. We call you a bunch of pedophiles and we want to take women's rights away. Let's make the list. And all of a sudden they're going to say, well, but since you had their RNC in Milwaukee, well, we're going to all of a sudden step up to the plate and give you your due. I don't buy that, PT. I think negotiating with terrorists is a terrible idea.
Well, let me tell you this. So Barrett was impossible to communicate. He just had such bad blood with Republicans in Madison. Chevy Johnson, he's bright, he's young, and he can communicate quite well. And I think this is a step forward to breaking that logjam between the Republicans and Milwaukee. I really do.
PT, from your lips to, somebody's ears, God, if you believe in such creatures,
there is no such thing.
967.
That's obvious. Otherwise, Milwaukee wouldn't host the RNC.
You knew it was coming, right? It's the ultimate.
God hates us. That's why the RNC is coming to Milwaukee. God hates us.
God just hates you. It's the whole devil radio thing. CJ, the good CJ from Beaver Dam. How you doing, CJ?
Hey, man.
Hey, fellas. Happy Friday.
Thanks, man.
Since I wasn't able to overthrow the government by choking my Secret Service agent out, and now I got to be deposed by the New York State Attorney General. How can I delay that? Oh, wait a minute. It's all about delay. Let me get the old lady whacked. I don't like her anymore anyway.
Well, it does make for
cold, man.
Interesting speculation, CJ, but
hey,
all things considered, does it seem that implausible?
Push her down the steps. I know plenty of mobsters in New York. They may owe me a favor, though.
Yeah.
So it takes a favor for a favor.
Hey, I don't want payment, CJ, but someday I'm going to come to you for a favor. You know what I mean?
Yeah, hey. Like they say, desperado. dirty deeds are done dirt cheap.
Ain't that the truth, man?
Leave the gun, take the cannolis.
I'm telling you.
844-967-27. Why is everyone interrupt while I'm trying to give them the phone number? 844-967-2789. Fancy Brian.
We
now
started
you.
talking at the same time. I saw you with the phone number and I backed off, man. It's fine. I'm
It's
saying
all right.
hi.
It's
It's
all right.
good.
See,
It's good. It's good.
defensive
Forget
right
about
now.
it.
Look
Forget
at
about it.
it.
Hey, it's fine. Now I lost my whole thing. No, I really did. I completely just lost my whole thing.
So really, you just interrupted us for no good reason.
It was.
Oh,
he'll get it.
Oh,
He'll get it
he's
back.
going to blame it on an owl. That there's a huge Netflix series right now. I think it's Netflix. The Staircase. And it's about this woman who had no idea how she died. The theory was an owl flew in and attacked her and knocked her down the stairs. They're going to say that Ivana was knocked down by an owl and fell down the stairs that way. That's how it works.
Because of a Netflix series?
Of course, with Colin Firth, man. It's Colin Firth. Toni Collette, they're great.
Could it have been, Black Lives Matter protesters or Antifa, perhaps?
I mean, that's who started it, of course.
An illegal alien, perhaps.
And that.
Any of those would fit the narrative very, very well.
An owl from Mexico.
If only we'd have built that wall.
Actually, didn't I see some headlines that Joe Biden and the president of Mexico just kind of cut a deal whereby Mexico is going to contribute like $1.8 billion towards a border security in essence fulfilling Donald Trump's promise that Mexico would pay for the wall?
Is Mexico putting up the 1.5 billion, or was that the United States? My understanding was putting up
we're spending more than that.
Oh, so Mexico is paying for like 3 feet of wall, and then we got to cover the other.
They're going to do the labor. We got the materials.
Rio Grande
I didn't get the details on it. We can get to the articles if we care. But
can we do Dutch treat?
Maybe. One shake, 2 straws, please.
Do you want to hear any of this, prediction of Charlie Sykes? The crystallization that Donald Trump's candidacy will make in support of Joe Biden.
I mean, sure.
Let me throw a little.
Why not? I mean, he kind of helped create Donald Trump. So let's hear what he has to say now.
Well, more Scott Walker and Rebecca Clayfish. He was a never Trump.
Let's call it the seed corn. A guidepost, perhaps.
I would readily agree with you that Charlie laid the fascist seed corn here in the state of Wisconsin. Here's what he says yesterday. Dismal doesn't seem to capture the true awfulness of Joe Biden's poll numbers and the season of our discontent. His approval ratings have cratered to just 33% in a New York Times Siena College poll. And the YouGov Yahoo News finds that just 18% of Americans want him to run for re-election in 24. Nearly 2 in 3, 64% think he should walk away. His numbers in the latest Pew poll are equally dreary. Now he throws out a bunch of polling. I don't care. Let's get beyond the polling. But it gets worse. Even his fellow Democrats are bailing on him, as the New York Times wrote earlier this week. And he quotes the Times. In a sign of deep vulnerability and of unease among what is supposed to be his political base, only 26% of Democratic voters say the party should renominate him in 2024. You've read a few of the headlines. Haven't talked much about this. Trying not to pile on. That's CJ's job. But anyways, a little bit more from Charlie. This has inevitably sparked a herd of doleful takes on the Democratic angst. Like this: should Joe Biden run in 2024? Democratic whispers of no's start to rise. And this: there has to be a backup plan. There's a backup plan, right? The usual knives are being sharpened in the usual way by the usual suspects. Progressive groups to press Biden not to run in 2024. And Charlie talks about history. Other presidents have overcome. Think Obama and Bill Clinton, although Joe Biden is no Bill Clinton or Obama. But here's where his conclusion comes from. He needs Donald J. Trump to formally announce that he's running in 2024. Biden's folks seem to get this. Earlier this month, the New York Times political reporter Michael Scheer told his colleague, there is a belief among some people close to the president that a formal Trump candidacy will provide an effective foil for Biden and will energize him much the way he was energized during the 2020 campaign. The threat of Trump was, after all, Biden's stated reason for running in the first place, right? All Joe Biden needs is a Donald Trump candidacy, and he'll be our president for 4 more years, like it or not. Come back, more Devils. It's Friday.
The one thing we know, and they do say, anybody that runs against Trump suffers.
COVID-19 vaccines are starting to become available across the country. Now is the time to get informed. Get the latest information at getvaccineanswers.org. It's up to you. A message brought to you by the Ad Council and the CDC.
I wonder who that is, honey.
Hugs with family.
Grandma and Grandpa's here.
Get over here.
Getting back to the moments we miss starts with getting informed.
I miss you so much, Grandpa.
Get the latest info about COVID-19 vaccines at getvaccineanswers.org. It's up to you. Brought to you by the Ad Council. The Devil's Advocates.
Aaron Mustovsky, who rioted at the U.S. Capitol on January 6th, was dressed as Captain Caveman. QAnon shaman meets Law and Order.
Right. I mean, he pulled it off a whole lot better than Aaron Mustovsky.
Well, let me read a quote from the judge in this case. I hope you'll leave some of this fantasy world behind. Mustovsky was sentenced to 8 months in prison.
Looking at the guy, he might be one who loses his mattress on the first day. Breaking news.
Follow the Devil's Advocates on Facebook and Twitter.
I'm Kirk Bangstad, and I own the Minocqua Brewing Company in deep red northern Wisconsin, and I have a super PAC. We make good trouble by buying billboards, radio ads, and calls to voters in northern Wisconsin. We target federal and state elections, think Ron Johnson and Tom Tiffany, and concentrate on a fair redistricting process. Give a donation now if you're able at the MinocquaBrewingCompany.com Super PAC tab. Help us make the politics of the Northwoods as clean as our lakes and streams. That's the MinocquaBrewingCompany.com Super PAC tab.
It's 4 a.m. and you're sucking baby snot through a tube because she's congested. If you love her that much, love her enough to make sure she's buckled in the right car seat. Find out more at nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
The Devil's Advocates. Rock and roll political commentary in a top 40 world.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Dirty deeds are done dirt cheap, but the expense report is going to kill you. 844-967-2789.
Let's get back to the phones. Pizza Box, Mike, first time today. Welcome back, Pizza. What do you got?
Hey, Michael.
Well, am I supposed to get 2 times a day? Because I didn't know you could do that. Oh.
No, we got some that call us multiple times, and we just ignore them sitting in queue.
Yeah, well, I'm going to start messaging and communicating some things that I guess that half the Democrats aren't going to like. But first of all, Joe Biden, God knows he shouldn't be running for the next term. If for nothing else, just for his wife comparing Latin people to breakfast tacos. I mean, people aren't going to forget that stuff. And how could you say something so stupid?
Well, Joe Biden's the first lady. Melania doesn't care, do you? And I don't think this will be an issue beyond this week's news cycle. I mean, really, Pizza Box, I'm not saying it wasn't obtuse. I'm just saying there are bigger fish to fry than whether or not Joe Biden made a bad analogy. Dom does nearly every day on the radio.
But usually don't insult specific groups of people, Mike.
Yes, but take a look at the swing. How many Latin people are lining up in the Republican Party? That's what happened last time around, too. Listen, you can't make excuses for lame-ass Democrats anymore. And Nancy Pelosi, there was only one person in the Democratic Congress that didn't vote to codify Roe v. Wade, and that's the one that the brass got behind, Henry Cuellar. This Democratic Party is disgusting. You cannot do anything about the Republican Party except let it implode. But the Democratic Party, we need to read out the problem that we've had for four decades now. I've been watching these guys. It's been my whole adult life, man. I don't want my children and grandchildren to suffer further consequences. I've been able to get through it. I'm a white guy, right? I'm 60. Nobody gives a damn about me anymore, and I don't care about that. This is just awful. Watching the media and bringing on John Bolton so he can whine and talk about, they're attacking the Republican Party and we're not all like that. Yes, you are. You're the Nazi Party. And the Democratic Party sliding that way, man. I'm sick of it. I can't identify with either.
All right, so Mike, who can you identify with? Who do you see that could be? If Joe Biden bows out, decides he's not running, who would you like to see run and take it?
The people that stand up and speak to the truth to power.
No, I know, but but someone's got to be there, Mike. It's not just a Dem; it's got to be a person. Is there a person that you think would fulfill what you want as a voter, and also bring the Democratic Party together and actually win the nomination and the presidency? What's the name? Name the names, Mike.
Name names.
I did. Gavin Newsom is top in line. Any of the people that have been speaking progressive language, everybody talks about, Charlie Johnson, he can communicate. What's he communicating? Is he out there talking about the same things I am that are the problem within the Democratic Party? Or are they licking the boots of the brass like they have been for decades?
Michael, I cannot believe you said Gavin Newsom, the current governor of the state of California, but I agree with you. Right now, he's fighting. He's out there doing progressive things, and he is the best leader the Democratic Party has on their bench with some youth behind him. Let me make that caveat, because I love me some Bernie Sanders. I love me some Elizabeth Warren. I would be more than willing to embrace either of those very progressive candidates.
Youth, tall, and nice hair.
Well, I got two of the three.
You got one of the three.
Here's the big knock on Gavin Newsom. His ex. The best is yet to come. Gavin Newsom's ex-wife is Guilfoyle is now gonna marry Don Jr.
Living in sin with Don Jr. Yeah, it's a strange world. Oh, on that regard, Patrick Byrne, the Overstock dude who has been, quoted and apparently interviewed by the January 6th committee. Allow me to give you one of my grievances. I totally forgot about this. His ex-girlfriend was Maria Butina, the Russian NRA agent that was all over the place.
Isn't that Scott Walker's ex-girlfriend?
Yeah, what? And
Scott Walker was getting
another Russian
seconds?
influence connection in the White House? Man, I mean, all you got to do is foment anarchy. And that's all you need.
It's like anarchy kimchi.
It's just unbelievable. Totally forgot about that. Patrick Byrne's ex-girlfriend is Maria Butina from the NRA, and of course convicted Russian spy. And now in the Duma, whatever the Russian government is, she's part of it. So that's an interesting side bit.
It's almost like you.
Why you interrupt me when I say the number? 844-967-2789.
Well, if you ever said the number, I might see it coming, but I often say the number and you often interrupt.
Dan from Madison, you're next. Happy Friday. What do you got for us?
Dan the man, Levitan, you're up. I think Dan fell asleep behind the wheel.
What's going on, Dan? You okay?
Danny, are you okay?
Danny, you okay? No, it's Annie. Yeah.
Oh, different MJ. Song. Different song.
So, wow, I can't believe this. We talked about this a lot today.
I've got a final topic to talk about.
Really? There's okay. All right, go ahead.
A mischaracterized relationship between Fancy Brian's hero, Tom Brady, and Donald Trump. Brady's out whining. We're not as close as people were saying we were. He's out there, seeking distance from the alleged insurrectionist former president.
Well, yeah, you hang out with fascists, all of a sudden people judge you. Milwaukee.
Now, here is what's being reported today. Brady telling Variety in a wide-ranging interview, this was 17, 18 years ago, talking about having previously golfed with Trump. I was so young. I got to go to a private golf course. I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. Brady said he had not spoken with Trump in a lot of years. I think the press just mischaracterized a lot, said Brady, according to the report. My personality isn't ever one to insult anybody. I hear he's a hell of a tough teammate. I think he actually is known for insulting a few teammates. But anyways, I'll read on.
And cheating and being a great quarterback and cheating.
And he says, and I have plenty
I'll
of
send
my
you an article about that. He didn't do it.
I have plenty of my own flaws, similar to Dominic. I'm not here to point out anyone else's flaws. Leave that to Crudy. There are things that I agree with. There are things that I don't. There are things I agree with my wife about. There are things that I don't. I love her to death, but we don't always see eye to eye. I don't see eye to eye with anyone. And I'm not responsible for what other people say. I'm really responsible for what I say. So if people want to say things that I said or that I'm about, that's up to them. And I'm not going to respond to all the things all the time either. So I'm putting it down for,
Maybe.
just like,
hey, how about
booty
Brad,
calls?
do you think a losing candidate should overthrow the government?
Are we talking Super Bowl or electoral? Have a great weekend, everyone. Stick around. Friday Night Live and live radio all weekend right here.
Go get him.
Sign on with the devil.
I'm Satan reincarnated.
The best is yet to come.
I can taste it. Because we're very high.
Have at it.
I'm Peter Pekarsky, a U.S. Senate candidate approving this ad paid for by Pekarsky for Wisconsin, asking what kind of world do you want to leave to your children and grandchildren? A world where Ron Johnson uses his Senate vote to change the tax code so another $79 million stays with 3 of his rich campaign contributors instead of paying for Wisconsin schools and roads? Or a world where Peter Pekarsky is a U.S. Senator working for all the people of Wisconsin? Tell us what you want at PekarskyForWisconsin.com.
The Summer of Love 2.0 Boosted Boogaloo continues with another summer rager at Hawks Bar and Grill on State Street. Hawks' original neighborhood bar is now celebrating 20 years in business. Tuesday, August 2nd, join the Devil's Advocates for a live broadcast and party to